I am Anna. I'm 21 years old. I come from a small town in Germany, where the streets are quiet, and the air smells like fresh bread in the morning. My life was simple. I lived with my mother and little brother in a small apartment above a flower shop. But deep inside, I always had a dream. A dream to live a bigger life, to travel, to see the world and maybe, to become someone my younger brother could look up to. I remember sitting by the window, watching planes fly above our town, wondering where they were going. One day I told my mother, I want to go to New York. She looked at me like I was crazy. Anna, it's far, it's expensive, and you don't even speak English well, she said. But my heart was already there. I applied online for a bar job in New Yorker, small bar near Brooklyn, that needed someone to clean tables and serve drinks. The pay wasn't much, but they were willing to help with a visa. I sold my bicycle, my laptop, even some old books. Every euro I had, I saved for the flight. The day I left Germany, my brother hugged me tightly. He whispered, "Come back as a hero." I smiled, but inside, I was scared, very scared. New York. The moment I landed, I felt like I was inside a movie. Tall buildings, so many people, everyone walking fast, everyone speaking English so fast that I couldn't even understand a single sentence. I had never felt so small in my life. I went straight to the bar. It was not what I expected. It was dark, loud, and the manager was a man with a tired face and angry eyes. "You're the German girl? Okay, start tomorrow," he said without even smiling. I nodded. "Yes, sir, thank you." The first night in my new room I cried. It was a small room above the bar. One bed, no window. I missed my home. I missed German food. I missed my brother's voice. But I kept telling myself, "Be strong, Anna. You came here for a reason." The job was harder than I thought. People shouted drink names. Some laughed. Some flirted. Some were rude. I kept smiling. I didn't understand many words, but I tried. I used Google Translate on my phone during breaks, learning new words every day. Whiskey. Neat. Double shot. On the rocks. One night, I dropped a glass. It shattered across the floor. The manager yelled at me in front of everyone. "This is not your grandma's kitchen. Pay attention." I wanted to scream, but I just said, "Sorry." That night, I cried again. Alone, hugging my pillow. I felt useless. Maybe I don't belong here, I thought. But the next morning, I cleaned the whole bar before anyone came. I wanted to prove that I was not weak. Weeks passed. I got faster. I learnt to smile even when my heart was breaking. I made notes in my phone of English words I heard. But I still had no friends. I was invisible in a city full of people. Some days, I didn't speak to anyone for hours. I would just look out the window during break time, staring at yellow taxis, and people laughing with their friends. How do people survive here? I asked myself. One night, I got lost while coming back from the grocery store. I had taken the wrong subway. My phone battery died. I didn't know the street names. I sat on a bench and started crying. Then, something happened. A woman walked by. She stopped, looked at me and said, "Are you okay?" I looked up. She had kind eyes. She looked like she was in her 30s. "I'm lost," I whispered. "No phone. No battery. New here." She smiled gently. "Come on, I'll help you get back." She sat with me, asked questions, helped me remember the street where the bar was. She even walked me back safely. Before leaving, she said, "New York is hard, but don't let it break you. Let it make you." That night, I wrote in my diary, "I met my first angel today." But the struggle wasn't over. Money was tight. I skipped meals. I sent half my pay to my mother. There were nights I didn't eat anything except leftover fries from the bar. I started getting sick. My face looked tired. My voice lost its energy. Then came a night I'll never forget. A rich customer threw money on the table and said, "Smile more. That's what you're paid for." Something inside me cracked. I wasn't a toy. I wasn't just a waitress. I was a human. I had a story. I had a heart. I went home and recorded a voice note for my brother. Leo, this city is tough, but I'll make it. I swear I will. I won't let New York defeat me. The days blurred into nights. I kept showing up at the bar, kept smiling, kept serving people who never asked my name. The world outside was moving so fast, and I felt like I was standing still. One evening, as I wiped the counter, someone walked in. He wasn't loud or flashy like the usual crowd. He wore a simple coat and carried a small book. He sat quietly at the end of the bar, looking tired, but peaceful. I walked over and asked, "What would you like?" He looked up at me and smiled gently. "Just tea. Do you have tea?" I laughed softly. "We serve everything but tea, but I'll make you one." I found a tea bag in the kitchen, heated water, and gave it to him. He sipped it and said, "Thank you. This tastes like home." That night, he stayed until closing. We didn't talk much, but before he left, he said, "You have kind eyes. Are you okay?" Nobody had asked me that in weeks. I paused, then said, "Not really, but I'm trying." He nodded. Trying is brave. His name was James. He came back the next evening, and the next. Every time, he ordered tea. Every time, he sat in the same seat. He didn't talk too much, but he always looked at me like I mattered. One night, after the bar closed, I sat beside him. "I came here with dreams," I whispered, "but all I feel is tired." He listened, not just with ears but with silence, patience, and a warm gaze. Then he said something I'll never forget. "Anna, New York is not a city, it's a mirror. It shows you who you really are. Most people run from it, but you stayed." That night, I cried. Not because I was broken, but because someone finally saw the pieces. James became my first real friend. He was a writer. He lived alone. He had once lost someone too. We would sit in the park on my off days. He would read stories aloud. I would share my journal entries. He helped me with my English. I helped him smile again. "Your words are raw, Anna," he said once. "You don't speak perfect English, but you speak with soul. That's rare." Then, something changed. One night, a customer shouted at me for mixing up his drink. I apologized, but he kept yelling. Before I could speak, James stood up. "That's enough," he said firmly. "She's not your servant. She's a person." The whole bar went silent. That moment gave me something I had lost self-respect. After work, the manager called me. "You can't let customers be disrespected," he said coldly. I took a deep breath and said, "And I can't let myself be disrespected either." He stared at me. "Are you quitting?" I looked at the dusty floor, then looked up. "Number, I'm just not afraid anymore." Weeks passed. My life began to shift. I started speaking more confidently. I helped other new workers who didn't know English. I started a small blog where I wrote stories from behind the bar. To my surprise, people began to read them. One day, James told me, "You're not just surviving, Anna, you're living." And he was right. I was no longer just a scared girl in a foreign city. I was an Atha girl who left Germany with a suitcase full of hope and returned with stories full of truth. 1 year later, I stood at the airport again, this time not in fear, but in gratitude. James waved goodbye. "You'll do great back home," he said. I hugged him tightly. "You saved me," I whispered. He smiled. "Number, you saved yourself. I just reminded you that you could." Today, I live in Germany again. I opened a small cafe. I serve coffee, tea, and dreams. On one wall, I framed a quote James once gave me. It says, "You are not lost. You are just being rewritten." Sometimes, girls come into my cafe tired, scared, uncertain. I look into their eyes and smile. And I tell them what I once needed to hear. Trying is brave, and you're not alone. Thank you for listening to Anna's story, a journey of courage, loneliness, and quiet strength. If you felt her pain, her growth, and her transformation, remember, you are not alone in your struggles. Whether you're learning English or building a life from scratch, Every small effort matters. Keep showing up, keep learning, and keep believing in your story. Don't worry about perfect English. Speak with emotion. Speak with honesty. And the world will listen. This is not just a story, it's a mirror for all of us chasing something bigger. Until next time, stay brave, stay rising.